The Lead. Sponsored by Lavish Boutique, Lavish Coffee, Jasper Veterinary Clinic, Jasper Bone and Joint, and Carl Cannon Chevrolet Buick GMC.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. This is Greg Tinker for The Lead, and I am very, very excited about being on the campus of Sumiton Christian today. The Eagles are the state champions for 2024, and they are led by first-year coach Ricky Bowen. He was a champion player back in 2004 and now champion coach here in 2024. And so first of all, guys, congratulations to all of you for the state championship. You've made everybody in this immediate area very proud, but all of us who live in the larger area very proud of you guys as well for your accomplishment. And just want to say, as a coach, I know how hard it is to do what you guys have done. I never got a chance to do it, but your coach did it as a player, now as coach. So thank you and congratulations on your state championship. So coach, to you on this, well, let's do this first of all. Let's let the guys go around and introduce themselves, and they're going to tell you their name and their primary position, and if they play two, like if they pitch and play another position, they're going to talk about that or mention that.
I'm Yansy Young, center field or DH.
Landon Shoemate, pitcher, second base.
Austin Scobie, second base and third base.
Justin Hicks, pitcher, third base.
Braden Woodard, pitcher.
Noah Godwin, left fielder.
CJ Harlan, catcher.
Caden Parrish, shortstop.
Rusty McDonald, outfield.
Colton Glass, first base and pitcher.
Jonah Marshall, third base, center field.
Sawyer Frazier, pitcher, first base.
Sawyer Irvin, outfield.
Reed Cornelius, catcher.
Austin Hubbard, right field and pitcher.
Noah Martin, right field.
And you'll pass the mic back down to Coach. And the question for Coach Bowen is this. So 2004, you're here and you win a state championship as the pitcher on that team. And now 2024, you are the coach of the team. What are some of the similarities you think, if there are any, between that 2004 team and this team?
I would say the biggest similarity is the camaraderie and the leadership. This team, I think the difference is this team is kind of led by a group versus that 04 team. We had a single senior on that team, Colby Tucker, that was really the emotional, vocal leader of our team. These guys have all kind of banded together. There's really, I mean, this is about as seamless of a group as I've ever seen. I thought we had a close team, and they really kind of, I would say, are closer knit than sometimes maybe too close knit. But they're such a tight knit group. They eat together. They are always hanging out together, working together, training together. There's not a lot of selfishness amongst them. And I think that's one of the most important things about any team is that it can't be about an individual. It has to be about the end goal and what it takes to get there. And you got to put the pride, you got to put the individualist, the little me aside and pursue what is more important.
So back to 2004, obviously what you would say then and now is the ultimate highlight is holding this up and your state champions. But thinking back to 2004, through that grind of the playoffs and then getting into the championship, was there a highlight that stood out back then that you recall 20 years later that, yeah, that was kind of the highlight, the pivotal moment in our run to the championship? And then the follow-up will be, was there that kind of pivotal moment with this group?
In 2004, I remember we actually got off to a really, really bad start. I believe we went like 1-5 to start our season. And then we played Walker, at the time Walker, here. And they were throwing a guy that ended up pitching in college, and we win. And then we go on this massive tear, this big run. And I would say that game was very pivotal. I think the second round that year, We faced a guy that pitched several years in the big leagues, Donovan Hand, and winning that game, because those were a one-game series. First, second round were one-game series back then. So how you handle that game was, there was no makeup. There was no, we get them on the next one. That was very critical. And I think at that point we kind of realized that there was something special happening. As far as this year was really difficult because going into it, I think everybody kind of had very high expectations, and it kind of discounts the hard work that happened this year, and it discounts the dedication and all the pieces that had to come in to play and had to fit right at the right time. There's just so much more that goes into a run like this. It's not that simple. More importantly, though, I would say our second game of the year, it was freezing cold. We played at Oak Grove, and we go into extra innings, and Austin Hubbard comes in relief of Justin Hicks, who threw in a first start of the year. He throws amazing in the cold. I think he had 11 strikeouts in that game, and Austin comes in and just nails it down, and we win in extras against Oak Grove, which was a third-round team in 4A. That moment I knew we had something really special, that we had the makings of a team that could make a really good run, that this wasn't just talk and hype. But then I would say I knew for sure when we were playing at Hackleburg, that's an amazing place to play. They have to an opposing team, a very hostile environment. And we make it's a 12-inning game. And Landon Shoemate, who's right here behind me, he goes seven innings in that game. And then Austin had to go another 5 in relief, basically through a complete game in relief. So in 12 innings, we back and forth, lead changes. Sawyer Irvin, who's in the back, makes this outrageous play in the corner in right field with a runner at second base to hold them at third. I mean, it was a total team effort. Then we turned the ball over to Colton Glass, our 8th grader, now 9th grader, as of, I guess, yesterday when we finished exams. We turned the ball over to him in game 2, and he just nails it down. I mean, he made them completely submit to his will on the mound, pitched amazing. And when that happened, I knew, okay, we've got the depth, we've got the pieces in place, and we're starting to really swing the bat with authority. I think now, you don't relax at all. But at that point, you know that we're sitting on something that's very, very special.
Well, that leads, it's a nice segue into what I was going to ask next. You kind of answered it, but if you want to elaborate on that, your expectations, you're not the head coach here. You're replacing a legend who's the head coach here, and Lance Blair, I think 25 seasons here, right?
It's 23, 24, something.
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood, and playoffs so many years in a row, and just, everybody knew Coach Blair in the Sumiton Christian program because of perennial playoff team, and winning the championship and getting to the semis and the finals another time or two. And so he's retiring, and y'all have conversations. And I know leading up to that, probably one of the questions that you had, other than, hey, this is going to change my life because of time commitment, is, all right, Coach Blair, I've seen the team play some, but, what are your expectations? And as y'all talk through that, and you've kind of gotten into that and answered that, maybe they were pretty high, but leading into that and your decision making to be a part of this, what was the factor, I guess, or what were your expectations for this group of guys behind you?
I think if you asked every single one of them about the previous season, we all felt like we play Appalachian in the third round last year at Appalachian, and Appalachian ends up winning the state championship because we lose. And we really felt like one of the biggest things is we let a bunch of small moments and distractions pull us away from the task at hand, the moment and the play that was immediately in front of us. And things began to snowball, and one error became 2, and one lapse in judgment or whatever became another. And as a result, one of our big focuses this year was to ignore the distractions, to focus on where we are, to be 3 inches in front of our face or 3 feet in front of our face. Don't live in the past and don't live too far in the future. Ignore the fake pressure that is created. Every time you win a round in the playoffs and you go further, there is more and more and more pressure. especially when you're playing teams that on paper you should definitely beat. And you could feel that. You know, we talk about how it's fake, and it is fake. I mean, we create that in our own heads, but you can feel it. And I would say that, you know, looking at the previous season and going into this one, we felt like we underachieved that last year, that we could have done more. And so I would say our expectations were to win a championship 100%. But also I think we had a tremendous respect for how difficult that was because of the setbacks of the previous year. Just because you're the best team on paper doesn't guarantee that you're going to win. I would make that argument that the Sweetwater team that we played, if you looked at it on paper, there was a lot of question marks. But when we played them and we met them on the field, those questions were answered by their intensity and their effort and their attitude and the way that they played the game. So I would say, yeah, I mean, we had high expectations, but we were definitely humbled by the things that we had seen and that had happened in the previous year.
Sure. Well, you've heard what Coach said, and I'm sure y'all have had these discussions before. But now I want to hear from as many of you as are willing to offer up a one word or one phrase ingredient that you think made you guys the championship team that you are, because championships aren't won in one day. They're won in the preseason, in the summer, over a long period of time. So if you can, just kind of think about, and not everybody has to participate if you don't want to. So if you don't want to, just pass the mic to the next guy. But one word, one phrase that made you guys into the team you are.
I would definitely say the bond this team has. I mean, it's unmatched.
I think it's just the hard work that everybody put in. It all played a part in the end.
I would say all of our hard work and like just bonding with each other.
I would say dedication.
I would say the brotherhood of this team.
I'd say our confidence. From first practice on, I don't think we had a shadow of a doubt that anybody could play with us.
I'd say it's because we were like a family. Everybody played for each other.
I would just say playing for the guy beside you, really.
Definitely just the brotherhood of this team.
I think the work ethic that we all had. Every day we get out there and drive and drive and drive, and just every single day by each other's side. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
I think our confidence definitely helped out a lot.
I think it was our hustle that helped a lot.
I think it was the brotherhood.
I think we were fully locked in from the start.
I'd say bond and dedication.
I'd say probably our brotherhood and discipline.
Well, what they've just described, Coach, as you know, are the ingredients you've got to have if you're going to win, right? Because if you don't have all of those things, and like you said, I like the word that you used. You said this is perhaps the most seamless group you've been around. And when you've got something like that, the cohesion that goes with that, we often use the word chemistry, but I like the word seamless, because what that says is it's all woven together, and you've got these multiple threads all weaving together that eventually end up with something like this once the picture all comes together. And so what you guys have said are not just key ingredients for winning a championship, but key ingredients for becoming a quality young man, post-graduation, for becoming a quality father, quality citizen, quality follower of God, all of those kinds of things. So what you've learned together as a group, those are things that will carry with you in the rest of your life. And you won't just be a baseball champion, you'll be a champion in every area of your life. And I know from being a coach, and I know Coach Bowen's mindset, and sure, this is important, but those things that are coming are equally as if, or as maybe more important, as you move along, because you're the epitome of that in your life after being a champion, and throughout your life, even to now, being a champion in every area, which lends itself to this. So part of this season has been Yancy's journey, and so I want you and he to have a little bit of a discussion about that, and from a coaching standpoint, we'll let Yancey kind of give some background into his story, and then as a coach and helping guide him through that along with his teammates, because that's always a challenge of with his, well, he'll tell the story, but with his sickness and saying, okay, as a coach, do I really trust him? I know he wants to play. Do I really let him play or do I not? Am I going to do more harm than good? And so you got that interplay going on. So if y'all will, just a little bit of a back and forth there about his story. But Yancey, if you'll start by talking about your journey a little bit.
So it was last summer when I was, of course, working out, hitting. I started having back problems, and that got worse and worse. So I eventually went to the hospital, and they told me I had a mass in my chest, a large one. And so I got diagnosed with lymphoma. So I started chemo pretty quickly. I was in the hospital for about 2 weeks, and so then I go home. And so I was going to clinic once a week and eventually 3 times a week. And then baseball season came around, so I was going to chemo and then going home, resting, and going to baseball practice 3 times a week. And the other 2 days I was going to physical therapy to try to do anything I could to get back. And eventually I was hitting, because my coach gave me one time every game to hit. And so we made it to playoffs. So 3rd round, I got to DH. And, I mean, that meant everything to me to be able to play with this team and just be on the field with them back normal. So, and then, of course, we made it a state championship and we win. So.
Well, I mean, that's the whole story right there. But, no, I mean, Yancey going in the 3rd round and taking over the starting spot at DH, I mean, honestly, like it was one of these things where you earned that spot, you earned that position. It wasn't like just, oh, I feel sorry for him or anything like that. I mean, the last 2 weeks of practice, he is really starting to get his swing back. His energy was coming back. A lot of people don't know, but the last several weeks that he was finishing his chemo, the more intense, where you're going multiple days a week, he actually had to stay in the hospital. So a whole lot of his progress and a lot of the preparation he had done had been kind of taken away from him because he was stuck in the hospital for several weeks. How many was it? 20 days?
Can't remember. It was a week and a half.
It was okay. So it was about 10 days in, I guess. But 10 because of his cell count, he had to stay in the hospital. So of course that means he can't get up, move, do anything. So it took a while after that just to get back going. And then there was a reaction to the maintenance chemotherapy that he was taking that was causing problems with his feet. So it took a while, but once he got his energy back, it wasn't a gimmick, it wasn't anything. It was, the man earned his job, and I'm not going to deny him that. And honestly, the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, yeah, we scored some runs, but we really didn't just have a spark offensively, and it was searching for that spark. And he goes in to hit, and we had to be very strategic. We had to use pinch runners. We had to do different things like that. But we had to keep him in the lineup because he could move runners. He doesn't swing and miss very often. He can hit backside to advance a runner from first to third. And honestly, he really wasn't missing barrels very often. He was hitting well, and it culminated obviously in the Game 3 of the state championship. He goes 3 for 4 with a double and scored. Because we had to run for him, he never got to cross home plate. And in Game 3 of the state championship, he finally got to cross home plate. So it was really I didn't even know that until after the game, until his mom and dad had told me that, and it was really kind of an amazing thing. It was definitely a God thing. It wasn't anything I could have designed or orchestrated myself.
So where are you in the process of everything in terms of has the tumor shrunk? Are you still on chemo? Where are you at in the process of your treatment?
My mass is fully dead, but it's too close to my heart, so they can't take it out. It'd be too dangerous. But now I just go once a month for 2 years. So it's pretty easy. Nothing really.
Pretty
what
easy.
I've been through.
Yeah. Okay. pretty easy. Not. But I appreciate your attitude about that, because what you've gone through is not an easy thing. It's a very difficult and challenging thing, and the fact that you wanted to stay connected to these guys, and from what I understand, you guys rallied around him and were there to support him and encourage him. You went to visit him in the hospital when you could, and so it was one of those give and take kind of things where, as teammates, you truly were brothers in this, because brotherhood in circumstances like this is the key oftentimes to a person doing well. And so, you know, I want to say thank you for what you did for him, and then the reverse of that is your inspiration to your teammates. And the quote that we talked about prior to this, share that with all of us, what you said. Basically, I guess it became kind of a mantra for the team.
We actually have it hanging up in the dugout. It's the comeback is always greater than the setback. And I think that's just, always in my mind.
Well, you've lived that out, haven't you? And by him living that out, you guys did too. You kind of grabbed hold of that, rallied around that, and the comeback was definitely greater than the setback, and that ends you up with a state championship. So I want to say personally, Yancey, thank you for your courage, and to you guys who rallied around him, thank you for your love and concern for your fellow teammate here. And Coach Bowen, for you being able to navigate that. As you said, it's a God thing, but you're a good listener to God. I know that. And so part of that is believing in him enough to stay at it, because some coaches might have said to him, look, Yancey, you're too sick, you're too weak, and it's just better off if you take care of yourself. But allowing him to continue this journey in that way so that he could end up in the championship game going 3 for 4 and getting across the plate and be a real true part of this. That takes a lot of wisdom, a lot of good listening. And so, you know, from my standpoint, being, you know, kind of both places in terms of coaching and ministry and that type of thing, I want to say thank you for doing that, you know, in the role that you're in. Well, let's do this. Let's sum this all up. Any kind of thing that you want to say in summary of just the kind of the whole thing, beginning to end, where you're holding up, as everybody wants to do, the blue map. And then if there are any of you who want to say one last thing after Coach has summed things up, if you do, just kind of raise your hand, we'll get the mic to you.
To sum up this season, I would just say that it has been an incredible experience and really an honor. I think the biggest unsung hero in all of this is Coach Blair and the foundation that he laid. I would not be sitting here without him. I would not have had the opportunities that I had without him. There were so many people that have rallied around our team, myself, to lift us up in prayer and support and wisdom, guidance, you name it. I mean, these trophies right here are not a 7 or 3 7-inning game series. It's years and years and years in the making, and there's so many people that will not receive the credit for this that they deserve. But to the guys that I had the honor and privilege of coaching, it was your love for each other and dedication to rally around each other when things got tough, because, you know, we talked about it the whole season, is that we're gonna face adversity. We're gonna have a hiccup. We're gonna have a bump in the road. Can you move on to the next play? And I've seen so much growth. Our first practice, one of the things I talked to him about was, you know, I don't care if we win a trophy or not. I don't care if we get a ring or not. I want everybody to get better. Better as a baseball player, absolutely, but better as men, better in your character. Learn to handle your business better. And I mean, every single one of these guys, I have seen significant growth. They are better men now than when I met them. And I'm not going to take credit for all of that. I think that a lot of that comes from them carrying and having a high standard for each other.
Sure.
I think that peer pressure can be a negative thing, but I think in the case of this team, it has been a very positive thing. And that is a tribute to each and every one of you. It takes a lot of different personalities, but to put yourself aside for the greater goal is difficult, but it's worth it. And I've learned so much from this group. But I know that the personality of this team is about to be done and over, and the magic it can live on, but next year's team has got to be next year's team,
Sure.
And we can't try to recreate that because we're different.
Sure.
And we're going to be different people, and we hope that we're better at the end of next year than we were at the beginning. But to these guys, I would just say thank you to the people that supported us and helped us, driving us, preparing meals, do everything. My wife for her advice, because she's been there before. To all of them, thank you.
Yeah. Anything, guys, from anybody?
I would just have to say thank you to the whole team and coach and like everyone that supported me, because I wouldn't have been able to get through this as easy and get back so fast without everyone behind me. So thank you.
Anyone else?
I just really want to give all the praise to, of course, the Lord, and I want to thank Coach Bowen especially. The being in his class, he teaches me in calculus, kind of just like seeing like a day in the life of Coach Bowen. It's insane, and I really don't know how he does it. He comes to school before anybody, works on the field, teaches one class, goes, works on the field a couple more hours, edges, cuts the grass, teaches another class, goes, does it again. Not to mention he's vice principal, so he's doing administrative duties. And then we got practice, and then we're here till 5 p.m. So it takes away from a lot of family time, a lot of sacrifice that goes into it. So I just want to thank Coach Bowen.
Last call. Thank you for that, and I know Coach Bowen appreciates that, because it doesn't happen by magic. It takes a whole lot of work and dedication. And just to play off of something that Coach said about character, one of the coaches, I didn't know him personally, but I read a book by him many years ago. He was the coach at UCLA. He won 10 national championships in 11 years, 7 in a row, which will never be replicated, okay? Coach John Wooden, and he said, better to have character than to be a character. And so it sounds to me like you've got a lot of young men who have character and they're not characters. You understand the nuance of that, right? Better to have character than to be a character. And so I just want to encourage you in that direction to continue to work on your character, because character is who you are in the dark. It's when nobody else is around. And if you always have that as kind of your top goal, then you will always be successful regardless of what it is. And I think that's what you were just describing, that you see in Coach Bowen, right? So that's something to emulate, is the kind of character that he exhibits as a man, not just as a coach, but as a teacher and an administrator, a husband, a father, all of those areas. And so you have someone, and Coach Blair ahead of him, like Coach Bowen said, had it not been for Lance Blair, then you don't have the foundation to take the next step here. So he deserves lots and lots of credit, because I know personally, because I've known Coach Blair a long time, that he had plenty of offers to go other places across the years because of his success, but he stayed dedicated to this program because he believed in it, and that belief has led to yet another championship. So I would definitely concur with you on that, Coach Bowen. So once again, guys, congratulations, congratulations, Coach Bowen. And he's right, next year's a new team. And so enjoy it. And then when this is over, you got to get to work on the next one, right?
That's right. Job's not finished, right?
Yeah. Going to be bumping up to 2A, so you get a championship in 1A and now a championship in 2A, right? Keep on rolling. Hey, it's been a whole lot of fun to be here today at Sumiton Christian with Coach Bowen and with the state champion Eagles from Sumiton Christian. And I hope that if you have an opportunity, you'll somehow get a message to Coach Bowen or to the school to congratulate these guys. Some of them will be graduating. When is that happening?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. Okay, so tomorrow night graduation will happen. And so they'll be receiving another kind of award, so to speak. So a lot of good things happening here on the campus, and glad that you're a part of that, Coach Bowen, and wish you much success in the future. This is Greg Tinker for The Lead saying good afternoon from Sumiton Christian High School.
The Lead, sponsored by Lavish Boutique, Lavish Coffee, Jasper Veterinary Clinic, Jasper Bone and Joint, and Carl Cannon Chevrolet Buick GMC.